this video is to show you how to install the Immortobot CFU Pro. You receive your package, put it up, just wind one bag with the speed controller, the power cable, and the auxiliary cable. An anti-static bag that contains the two tube sensors as well as the waterfall sensor. Another anti-static bag that holds the controller and literal brain of the system. And the motor with the pre-installed adapter plate. As you've taken them out, should be two connectors installed here. These should be tight, not pulled out. Just give them a quick push to make sure. We do put some RTV on the inside of them to hold them down to make sure they don't come out, but there's always a chance. This tab, it should be bent out. It is correct. Make sure the tube sensors, these white connectors, are solid, they're not broken off. Same with the waterfall sensor. And then in this bag you have a knob, speed controller, this power cable, and this one black cable here, the auxiliary cable. Put those aside. For the installation you'll need a few tools. First one is a 1/4 inch socket. You will also need a 2 and a 2.5 millimeter Allen key, a 1/8 inch flathead screwdriver, and a number 10 and number 12 wrench. To begin the installation, take your Dillon case feeder, take your 1/4 inch wrench, and remove the 6 screws that hold the cover and the faceplate on. We've pre-removed them for time in this video. After you've done that, if this is a new DC version, take the 10 millimeter wrench, loosen the nut, cover comes off. Take your 1/8 inch screwdriver, slide the cover up, pull the terminals off carefully. You may need the screwdriver to lift these slightly off. They are very tight fitting. Take your 2 millimeter Allen wrench, loosen the knob, you can remove it. Take your 12 millimeter wrench, loosen the nut that's holding. There's 2 washers here. And again, take your screwdriver, put your fingers on the nuts in the back, fingers on those nuts so you don't lose them. As you You'll need these screws and nuts again. Set your faceplate aside. Turn over your case feeder with the 2.5mm wrench. Unscrew. Away. And there's the original motor for the Dylan. Set it aside, out of your way. Now, you don't have to take these screws out, you can leave them there, just make sure you don't lose them when you turn it over. Alright, now you have the gutted case feeder bolt. Next we'll go to the installation. Put it over here for now. So in the faceplate, we're going to install the waterfall sensor. It's in like this, pretty easy. Figure out which way it goes in, follows the path there. Take the 2 screws that you took out earlier. Slide them through the holes, turn it over. Right on the nuts. And give them a quick turn to tighten them up. For the next step, you will need a number 1 Phillips head screwdriver. I'm going to start to install the cable. So take your control box, auxiliary bag, parts, don't lose the knob. First part, speed control. See the slot there? You can look inside and you will see 2 notches that correspond to 2 raised areas, basically keyways on this connector. Just align, push down. You may need to take that screwdriver, push on the tab there until it seats. It will seat below the box. It's now secured. Second part, on the box, motor black, kill red, kill black, power red, motor red, power black. So we're going to attach to the power black and power red. Let's take your power cable here, power red, the red side of the cable through the ring. install it to the inside of the box like so. Careful not to cross thread. Nice and tight. And on the black side, this is power black. Back through the ring. Nice and tight. So, power red, the red side of the power cable. The power cable is the one with this connector, or this socket on it. And black power is this black cable with this connector on it. Now set aside your faceplate. Come back to your bowl. Now we're going to install the motor power in motor red, right here, where it says motor red. So, loosen that up. This box will fit perfectly in this space. So when you're installing, cable back, you can install it to the outside or the inside, doesn't matter really. Install here on the inside. Screw through the ring. Tight. And you want to run your socketed power cable. Make sure it doesn't go around that. That's going to come out through this slot. So if you want to set it there now, you can. Up out of your way. Move your other cables out of your way now. Okay. Next we're going to start hooking up the faceplate. Do that, take the wire tie off of these cables. Uncoil them back out of your way. Look for the one marked waterfall on the label. Waterfall cable. There's tabs and notches just like the previous one. Slip it in, screwdriver, and seat it home. Now take your speed controller, you can just set this like that for now. There's a nut and two washers here. So you want them both off like that. And there's a nub here. And this is one of the newer feeders. It snaps in into that slot right there. And you have to be careful that you don't break a wire. This is one of the older feeders you're going to use. This is called the 550 hole. You can put it there and the nub won't fit. You may have to. You can either cut the nub down or file it down, or just tighten it down and it will sit slightly off. So put your smooth washer, then your split washer, and then your nut. a 12mm wrench. Snug it up nice. Okay, on the back, you're going to take this first out of the motor, it installs here on that nub. Careful when you put it on. Just wiggle it down. And the two straight connectors attach to the back of the switch. Face down, check your cables, make sure they're not all twisted up like that. There we go, untwist them, slide this down. And cabling. Now for the next two cables on the faceplate, I'm going to take them. Use some finger pressure to push these apart. You don't have to break them or anything. Go to the lower one, the slot. Slide that one through. And slide that one through. There you go. If you want to, you can actually take them to the bottom as well. If you want those further down, and just push them apart. And slip them through. Slide the cover back into place. Using your 1/4 inch socket, tighten all the screws in. Longer hold. And we're on the next step, the installation of the tube sensors. Final installation is installing the tube sensors on the drop tube. So these are common. Their function is determined by the cable they're plugged into. So for the first one here on the bottom, I'm going to put it on there so that the connector faces up towards the label. Now these have a little bit of looseness to them, so they can be stretched out to fit over. And then once they're on there, they slip right on, and then the friction holds them on. So on the top one, it's upside down so that both these connectors face each other. Same thing, they plug in. And when you've installed it on the case feeder, just plug the bottom in, bring the top, plug the top in here. Once you've brought the top in and the rest of it, you might want to wrap a wire tie around the cables and the tube as a kind of a strain relief off of this connector. As you can see, they can be pulled out, and if you pull too hard, you can end up breaking the wires off or breaking the connector off. Final installation, you just pop in the clip and slide the top one to the level at which you're comfortable with cases in the tube. because once the cases pass this and leave this empty, it will start back up until cases sit in front of this one. On the bottom one, cases have to be sitting in front of this sensor for the machine to run. So you may have to prime the pump, so to speak, and put a few cases into the tube first before you start this up, so that you can fill this tube up. Because if this has no cases in front of it, it will stop. That's purpose is for the roll sizer. There's another cable for the roll sizer that connects to the control box that will actually send a signal to the roll sizer to turn it off if this goes empty, so the roll sizer will stop running. And that concludes the installation of the CFU Pro.